Welcome to the Metal Verbalizers. This podcast is about supporting underground metal and talking about underground bands that we like. We talk about things like inspirations, origin, future plans, and more, as a way to introduce these bands to you. However, even if you are familiar with the band we're talking about, maybe you'll hear something that you didn't know already. I'm Johan Verbalizer, and in this episode we will verbalize VX. Alright, so let's start by having you guys introduce yourselves a little bit. Name and what you do for the band.
Right, well, I can start. So, my name is Mikael, and I play guitar and sing, or I try to sing for the band. And then I suppose also kind of if you happen to come across some weird things, some not that metal stuff or electronics, weird samples and things, then those are most likely my fault too.
All right, Mikael, you want to take the
Sure.
next one?
Yeah, I'm also Mikael, and I play bass, and I produce, and I make music videos. So I do lots of stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
he's responsible for the visual side of VX a lot. He does most of the album cover art and stuff like that.
All right, so I am not Mikael. It's two Mikaels and one Sebastian. So I'm Sebastian. I just play the drums. Really, that's as far as for now. That's pretty much my only job right now.
All right. Right, so I guess we could continue with when did you start playing, and was there something like specific that encouraged you to start playing music?
Yeah, just music overall first, and yeah, I suppose I come from a very musical family. Like we always had different instruments at home, and my parents were always like, if you want to try them, then go ahead, just don't break anything. And
Right.
I think it was like I was probably 6 years old when I first my cousin had a drum kit, and that was just the best thing ever. So
Yeah.
so it didn't take long after that I started taking drum lessons, and so yeah, I'm originally a drummer, and at some point I just started playing guitar because I wanted to play my own songs, and it kind of snowballed from there. And basically now it seems like every few years I pick up another instrument, going like, hey, this might be cool.
All right.
So yeah, like Mikael, I had a very musical upbringing as well, but I didn't really get into music until like my late teens. So I picked up the drums at the age of 17 when I was an exchange student year in Minnesota. I started actually playing with on a Guitar Hero like drum set.
All right.
Yeah, I started jamming some general songs they had in there, and I just fell in love with that, and I burned through like 3 sets because I was playing them on too hard. So the kick pedals would always break down. I would just set it aside and started jamming to AC/DC tunes, after that. And when I came back, I told my father, who's also a drummer, I told I got interested in playing drums, and then he set up his set, in the garage, and then I started to jam, and I formed my first band in 2014. We played a bunch of times, and during the recordings of that session, I got to know Mikael, and now I'm here.
All right.
Me and other Mikael, we had a band in elementary school. It was like first band.
Yeah, we
And-
were classmates.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I don't really remember how I picked up the bass, but I think it was just like the band needed bass, and that's why bass
Yeah, because
became-
you played piano first,
yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now I also, well, I make synthwave, so I play synthesizer and bass.
Right. So when you played with each other back then, you didn't play bass.
No, I played bass, and the other Mikael played drums, and
All right.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was like you started with piano, but then it became bass pretty quickly.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess kind of like a similar question, but for the band itself, like when did you start the band, and also if you want to elaborate a little bit more on how it started.
Yeah, the band was actually started by me and Sebastian back in, I think it was 2023.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because like he said, they were doing an EP back in the day with his old band, and I was doing an internship at the studio, so we're around the same age, and we both liked thrash metal and there's the same interest, so we became friends pretty quickly. And I had a pretty long kind of a dry season where I didn't play with anyone. It's like, might be fun to hang out and jam with someone. So I sent Sebastian a message that, hey, wanna try doing something? And it's a traditional thing. We were supposed to just jam for a bit, but
Right.
that was basically, I think it was the first session where it got all out of hand when it was like,
Yeah.
I think I was trying to play Holy Wars and I had no idea how to play
Yeah.
it, so it became something else. And they were like, okay, well, maybe we should do a song. And we played together a couple of times, and then we asked Mikael, and hey, want to play bass with us? And that's kind of where it started.
Yeah,
Right.
my previous band was kind of at this dying stage. We were calling it pretty much quits.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I received a message from Mikael, and he was like, "You still playing drums and up for a jam or something?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not? It's not going to harm anyone." So we got together at our rehearsal place and jammed for like probably 3-4 hours and just got along great. The chemistry was really good, and we were kind of like Mikael said, we were trying to jam to something, but then it turned to something else, and we were kind of like,
Right.
hey, that was pretty cool, and then it built up from there, and soon after we had other Mikael join us.
And again needed a bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I would also like to ask you a little bit about if someone has never heard about you before, like how would you quickly like kind of describe the band? What is VX all about?
Yeah, I think I'd call it just like more late 80s, early 90s style thrash metal. That's kind of the vibe I get from it. It's not something we try to do, but and maybe kind of we're on the less extreme side of the spectrum there. We have a bit of melody and we slow down sometimes, and it's not all just going like 250 BPM and double bass,
Yeah.
and which is very nice. But I feel like there are bands that do it a lot better than we can ever do. So
Right.
but I think so, and it's I'd say some of our stuff is a bit more technical. I say largely thanks to a lot of the riffs becoming from like Mika starts them by jamming with his bass, and then we kind of figure out, okay, that's a cool thing, but how do we turn it from a solo into an actual playable thing?
Right. Yeah, I mean that's something that I've always kind of like valued as well. As much as I like a lot of like really really extreme stuff, but it's kind of like it's something about like the kind of authenticity that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be like super super fast or super super extreme to like be very like impactful in the sense of being like a metal band.
Yeah, I think you can take first.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that we never really started to do any fast things for, just for being fast.
Yeah, exactly.
I think everything kind of came natural for us. So, when we were, jamming, and that's just kind of where it all fell into place. And I definitely say we, I like to think that we're trying to maybe introduce little electronic components, mixed in. We're trying some different things, but we're trying to still, keep it fresh, but definitely all very much rooted in, very traditional thrash stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I kind of like noticed pretty quickly with a song like Fast Lane, that you have this like kind of classical thrash elements there, of course, but you also have this kind of like interesting, a little bit different aspects in it as well.
I think it's like there's this kind of just like a weird edge to it.
Right.
Like it's not just completely straightforward. And yeah, I was actually Sebastian said, well, I had the same exact comment in my mind. So
right.
Yeah.
but yeah, like when you said about the electronics, like in Fastlane, you have the lead part after the solo, and there's a keyboard underneath that. If you listen to it closely, you can kind of so. We mean like stuff like that. It's if it suits the song, then sure, let's add a little layer there.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that approach.
Yeah, and we're hopefully, at some point we'll get to put out a song with maybe even slightly more like synthetics and ambient sounds and all sorts of interesting things.
Yeah, because like I'm big time into modular synths these days, and that's a great tool for making all kind of these really nasty sounds that I think would fit a lot of metal really well. You just gotta find a way to put them in, but like it's really easy to do some really gnarly things.
Yeah, for sure.
We aren't knowingly limiting ourselves to like any specific style, but very naturally it's going to be around that thrashy stuff,
Right.
And if it goes to whatever big band sound at some point, then let it be.
Yeah, I think so too. It's kind of like doing your thing basically, and then whatever else kind of like is somewhat irrelevant, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. If you try to force a certain style, then it starts affecting the sound really quickly.
Right, I think so too. I think that kind of like goes back to the kind of authenticity of it. If you kind of like try too hard, so to speak, it kind of like it kind of like it loses something, so to speak.
Yeah, it's kind of the soul stops being there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I would also like to talk a little bit about main inspirations for the band. Like, what would you say is the main inspiration that like drives the band? It doesn't necessarily have to like compare to other bands or like even music related, but what like inspires the band?
Yeah, I think we can go like each of us at a time, but at least like for me, I usually like music is a way to vent. I think that's reflected in a lot of my lyrics and stuff too. But it's like I get pissed off, I throw that out there and like write about stuff that pisses me off. And you play heavy music, you'll play fast music, you really get to play those nice riffs and stuff.
Right.
It's a really good way to kind of channel all of that out and be like, well, I feel like crushing some heads, so let's crush some heads, and then you throw some nasty riffs.
You could go ahead, Mikael.
I'm not really sure what's the inspiration are. For thrash metal, it's definitely Megadeth, but like my background is from synthwave, so Perturbator and Carpenter and Brute are like the music I listen a lot. But I think there's just so many inspiration that it's hard to pinpoint specific.
So for me, like the music I listen to obviously affects a little bit. My top 3 is like Dream Theater, Muse, and Slipknot, which is not at all what you would probably expect from a thrash musician, but like they have some sort of like blend of melodic and progressive, technical stuff from just downright aggressive, and it sort of sums up to be this kind of thrashy thing. And then another inspiration for myself, for sure, is just being around my father's playing, which is very like this aggressive classic rock, which he used to play, and being around that kind of rubbed into me, when I started picking up drums. I was like, okay, what to do? So I just basically did what I saw my father do, which was to play fast and hard, So it fitted that thrash sound very, it was very perfect for that type of music. So that's kind of where I drew my inspirations from.
Yeah, I see. And kind of like going back a little bit to what you said before about, kind of listening to stuff that isn't like, metal. Like I kind of like that idea as well, so to speak, that like I listened to James McBain from Hellreaper, for example, a few days ago. And he said that thing like that when he writes music, he like intentionally tries to not listen to metal.
Yeah.
To kind of like pick inspirations and being inspired of other things and not metal.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that, you get like fresh ideas and kind of like what I think why Gar Samuels in Megadeth was so influential, because he came from completely different background from metal, so he had all these fresh ideas from his like blues and jazz background, and maybe in a way that translates to my playing in a way, not maybe as profound, but something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I would also like to talk a little bit about lyric themes, such as like your songs right now, like Fast Lanes and The King is Dead. Would you like to elaborate a little bit about that and for future music, for example?
Yeah, so I guess that's mostly on me. As I said, I like to try and write about real things. Like they're usually like Fast Lane is about like the kind of way people seem to be living their lives these days. You're always rushing somewhere. No one knows what it is, but everyone's just chasing after each other and really just living on the fast lane.
I get it.
As the song says. And then with King, that's actually an older song I made like a couple of years ago, which was you see these articles like every couple of years where the media goes like, ah, look at this, rock is dead. You kids should go and listen to something else, and and that's just kind of a fuck you to them.
Right.
Like, no, we're not dead. I'm here.
Yeah.
And basically, I think that's kind of, well, what happens with a lot of our songs is that I try to find something in the real world that I want to write about, and because like I try to keep them so it's not so on the nose as you find with some bands who really go like the lyrics go that I think this.
Right.
Yeah, at least I try to give the listener a little bit of kind of they can interpret it too if they find something else in there, but they're usually all rooted in the real life.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good thing, because I think that could probably mean that more people can kind of like relate to it and kind of connect to the lyrics in another way if it's like rather than if it's like too specific, like you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then again, of course, like if you kind of take this kind of a too much of an activist take in it, then that also is kind of alienates some people. And
Right.
then you also have to be really careful in how you write about stuff, because you're just gonna sound obnoxious, and also there's also the chance that you're wrong.
Right.
Which is then you're kind of immortalizing your failure.
If
you go too specific
I understand
about
what
it.
you mean. I understand what you mean. For sure.
Yeah,
But
of course, I think big kind of one of the driving things there behind my lyrics is this, I'm just doesn't matter who's in power. I'll probably always be a bit of an anti-establishment guy. Doesn't really matter what country or who's in power.
Right.
There's always some bullshit that you can write about.
yeah. Sadly. But then if I like understand you correctly, you are the main like lyric writer for the band.
Yeah, that's kind of falls on me.
Right.
I told the guys that if they want to, then they can too. But yeah, that's kind of, and that's the thing I like to do also. Like I do write some songs too, but I feel that I'm much more of a lyricist than I'm a composer.
Right. But yeah, I would also like to discuss artwork a little bit. How about that? Like, for example, Fast Lane, you have like the road, and then The King is Dead, you have like the TV. I think that kind of ties together very well with what you described earlier, but we'd like to talk a little bit more about that.
I have a funny story about the Fast Lane cover art.
Right.
As Mikael can talk about the artwork more, but when he first made it, and I think it's still in there. But if you look at it, the road is or the lines on the road are incorrect. They're the wrong way. They're supposed to be the other way around. And because he has never driven a car in his life, he has no idea.
but when we realized it looks better that way.
Yeah. Then it looks better that way. But it was really funny when we first realized that. But yeah, if you want to elaborate on the art styles, what do you do?
I mean, for The King is Dead, it was Mikael's, the idea of the TV. I don't really remember which was the original or the first idea for the Fast Lane, but somehow the road thing just came to my mind, and I, made the fast, test version, and it looked pretty good. So we just made a cover with that idea.
Yeah, and you have all the production gear and sort of the know-how to put it all together, and the kind of you can see the bigger picture, whereas the rest of us are more like, you direct, you guide us into doing the right stuff, and then we'll just we'll just put our faith in you, and then you come up with that, that's sick music video.
I think it's also really nice that you have someone in the band who can trust at this level, and you can just go like, hey, I trust that you're gonna make this good, and just you tell us what we do, and you can just go along. It also saves a lot of money when you don't have to rent things and get external people to do stuff. And
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so I would also like to talk about future plans for the band.
Yeah, well, we actually we have quite a lot of songs ready now and rehearsed. We're kind of starting to look into playing our first gigs, and then we've been working on an EP, which actually Mikael just sent me the drum tracks for finishing, and so we should be hopefully getting that done soon. And I think it's fair to say that we're trying to get it released this year.
All right.
And after that, we recorded, like we have drums for the EP, and then like 2 singles after that. That which they're gonna be like from our past projects, basically covering ourselves, gonna show where we came from.
Right.
And then there's some original songs too, of course. So that's gonna be the next thing. And who knows? Maybe we'll go for a full length album after that. We do have material
Right.
for it, but we'll have to kind of see what the situation is then. Of course, because like it might not make sense to charge headfirst into that. But the EP is gonna be the first thing.
All right. So yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that, of course.
I can tell you the name too if you want to. It's called it's gonna be called Sigil.
Right.
I think we can put that out there.
All right.
Exclusive.
And it's probably gonna feature Mikael's art again.
Right.
And then we'll see if we're gonna do a music video. That's at least been in the talks, but I have to see what happens.
I see.
Right.
They've been talking about making me play inside a circle of fire, so
I mean, that sounds really interesting for sure.
yeah, I might also die.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a lot envisioned for the probable music video song of that EP. So that's definitely gonna be an interesting thing, and I think also a level up from what we did prior. Having
Right.
fire involved, and playing amid the fire. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I can just imagine. But yeah, I think that was about all the questions I had for you guys. But is there anything else that you would like to talk about or discuss or generally say before we end?
You could give a shout out to our channels, like to our social medias.
Right, of course.
Right. Mikael?
Oh, that's on me. Okay. Well, I mean, of course, yeah. So for the listeners, then we are on Facebook and Instagram, and we have a YouTube channel. There's not a lot of stuff on those yet, but we'll try to get something on all of those, of course. And YouTube is good for it. We have the music video there, and there's some shorts about like background shots from when we were making the music video and stuff like that. And yeah, I suppose, yeah, my mind's completely blank too. So.
All right, but yeah, of course you want to follow the band so that you get notified when they do release stuff, so you can quickly check it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're all welcome.
Right. So yeah, I guess it's kind of time to wrap it up. But I want to thank you guys very much for taking the time and to make this episode. And we of course wish you all the luck with the future things you have in store.
Thanks, and thanks for having us. It was really cool and nerve-wracking. Yes, the first time we've done anything like this, so I was
Right.
like, do not vomit, do not vomit.
All good. Yeah. Thanks for having us, and it was a pleasure being part of this.
Yeah, of course.
And I hope we get to talk to you again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe when we get more stuff out, the
absolutely
music videos and whatever.
Yeah, you guys are more than welcome to come back on the podcast.
Oh, we'll probably love to. Of
right.
course, when the time is right. So.
But yeah, once again, thank you guys very much, and have a good one.
Yes,
you too.
You too. Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
And this is the end of this episode. However, now we want to encourage you to go and listen to this band. If you like what you hear, don't forget to go and show them some support. Interacting with their social media pages, sharing the music, and telling them that you enjoy their music is very important. Great way to help the bands, and also a great way to encourage them to keep doing what they're doing, which basically helps keep metal alive. We really appreciate that you've been listening all the way to the end, and thank you very much for listening to and supporting us at Metal Verbalizers. Really appreciate it. We will be back to verbalize again next week.